even people who would look up and acknowledge that they see the same thing, they weren't at all concerned about it. There were no laws of physics that supported this activity or the explanation of this activity as a normal water vapor or frozen vapor trail. You know, all of a sudden, you know, the jet goes overhead, and in the same sky you'll see 2 or 3 jets passing overhead, and there's nothing. You can barely see the jets because they're so high up. And other jets come into an area, and all of a sudden the white trail starts all of a sudden coming out of the jet, and then it stops, and then it starts again. And I've seen a number of occasions where they just did dashes across the sky. And I talked to a few pilots, and I asked them, well, how can you do this? And they, first of all, they did not believe that anything untoward was happening, and they said, well, you can turn your engine off. I said, would you do it over and over again? He says, if you're nuts.
To begin with, all the trails were long, and they were crisscrossing like a checkerboard.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
And the #1 reason you should visit New Zealand.
Well, you have chemtrails too, just like America.
Growing citizens movement demanding an explanation of chemtrails.
Where I was actually their doctor taking care of the pilots flying and spraying the chemtrails. So I know it's real. If anybody says it's not real, they're full of it.
We have found out through a very credentialed research doctor that perhaps what we're seeing occasionally show up in our air supply is a fungus.
Thousands of people complained something was new, something was wrong. The Centers for Disease Control now says it will launch an investigation into a strange new skin condition, no known causes.
This morning in Health Watch, Morgellons, a mystery illness that can make people feel like their skin's crawling.
It is a mystery straight out of the X-Files, but those who suffer from it will tell you it's painfully real.
Imagine feeling like your skin is literally crawling, that you're tormented at all hours. You can't even think straight. The condition is driving you crazy, but
it's now getting widespread attention.
Tonight, a community in the San Bernardino Mountains has a real mystery on its hands. The official explanation here is that jet contrails are causing strange lines in the sky, and that it's pollen making people sick on the ground. The Department of Health found a yellowish tint on a tissue submitted for testing. But, quote, there was no sign of any biological form, such as cedar pollen.
Well, Laura, the disease literally makes your skin feel like it's crawling.
Thousands of sufferers nationwide. Just hearing their symptoms might make you feel sick.
It happened again last February, and calls began pouring into the local Alpenhorn newspaper.
And they had a tremendous upsurge of children that were not going to school at that time.
Pharmacist Ed Burrows says it is the most mysterious illness he's seen in 22 years on the mountain.
Imagine sweating beads of a black tar-like substance or pulling colored thread-like strings from sores all over your body.
A lot of eye infection problems, upper respiratory problems, nosebleeds.
Patients report feeling bugs crawling beneath their skin, sores that don't heal, dementia, extreme fatigue, and most disturbing, fibers that push out from open wounds.
Some patients actually gave us those fibers, so we had them analyzed against 100,000 known fiber samples, both natural and synthetic, that the FBI crime lab uses, Diane. Guess what? Not a match.
And, you know, it turns out until 9 years ago, the government had the right under U.S. law to conduct secret testing on the American public under specific conditions. Only a public outcry repealed part of that law, with some exceptions.
But could secret testing be underway yet again? Those who fear chemtrails could be secret biological or chemical testing on the public. Point to the 1977 Senate hearings in particular, which confirmed 239 populated areas had been contaminated with biological agents between 1949 and 1969.
Okay. Strange substance found by a Southwest Arkansas man being part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrail.
Okay, I hope all of you heard that real loud and real clear. We're talking about the potential of chemtrail involvement with Morgellons disease.
KSLA News 12 discovered chemtrails are even mentioned by name in the initial draft of House Bill 2977 back in 2001 under the Space Preservation Act. But the military denies any such program exists. Later, the 1994 Rockefeller Report concluded hundreds of thousands of military personnel were also subjected to secret biological experiments over the last 60 years.
A string of congressional investigations has uncovered more than 20,000 secret tests that were carried out against the American people between 1910 and 2000.